Hello guys, so I've been looking at the numbers, I've been looking at the past 8 years in terms of what has worked when we've launched products, when we've launched new brands, and what has not worked. So we've driven millions in sales. Um, as I've said here, I've launched multiple brands, 100 plus products. Some have been a success, with they've earned six figures, seven figures. Others have failed, and here are the principles behind those that have succeeded. So while I didn't write this with ChatGPT, I did ask ChatGPT to give me some thoughts or review it for me. And he said the energy is I'm not launching products, I'm building brands designed to win. And that sounds about right to me. So when I look at the first point here, and also obviously running an advertising agency, I see many clients as well with their products and doing info as well. I can see what works, I can see what doesn't work over the long term, especially. Number one thing, a real USP. A USP does more than make your product different, because ultimately it disconnects the cogs from the sales price. When you have a genuine, unique selling point to your product that competitors do not have, you have the leverage to charge more. It's a premium product. It offers some unique value to customers that they're not getting elsewhere. So of course you're within your rights to charge more. Now, why does this matter? Well, it matters because when supply chain shocks hit, whether that's the containers crisis during COVID in 2021, whether that's tariffs now, 2025, and there will be more, might even be industry specific to your niche. But the goal here is to have a USP so that you can survive and prosper. Simple as that. If you do not have one, it's very difficult. So products without a USP are anchored to the masses. You are a commodity and a sitting duck. Product, packaging, marketing, brand are all forms of USP. You can launch without one, provided once you validate the market, once you validate the product, that your USP development starts. All products we've invested in that have an edge or a USP have grown consistently and produced the highest profit for our business. All those that we didn't invest in its edge or its USP, or it wasn't USPable, for lack of a better word, to begin with, have failed. Not immediately, but eventually. And that's been true even up to this week. I'm looking at certain products, and because there's just no USP there, it's not different. There's nothing overly special about it. And it might bring in some profit, and it might be okay, but unless you're innovating, unless you're adding something different as far as product, as far as packaging, as far as marketing or branding, it becomes a me too, and the profit erodes away. Simple as that. So number one, and the most important, a real USP. Number two is enter markets where you can develop a better understanding of the customer journey than the competition. So entering markets where you understand the customer better, you understand what they like better, you understand what they dislike better, and you also have a set of products or a niche where you can learn about what gives it an edge. You can learn and develop your understanding of that niche so that your knowledge grows better than that of the competition. So you're selling to the customer. Markets in which we have not been able to develop some sort of asymmetrical knowledge advantage have led to poor results year after year. Sometimes the market is too mature, there's no innovation left, or quite simply, it's not innovatable by us. We just don't have the skills, we don't have the technical skills to do that. So you've got to know the difference. That ultimately is wisdom, knowing which ones you can develop something and knowing which ones you cannot. Very simple. The next one here is superior quality, components, ingredients. I see it time and time again. When you compete on price, you're going to lose. You're just going to lose because unless you are the factory, and we have some kind of a hybrid going on, but we're still not the factory. You're always going to be competing against people that have a better cogs than you, and if you are selling the me too, you're going to lose. Your profit's going to go down over time. Now, the way to usurp that, the way to outcompete that is to have superior quality, components or ingredients in your product. It's the way that you can not compete on price if you are the best. If you bring something unique. Again, it doesn't have to be USP, but as a necessity, quality, components, ingredients, you've got to be up there with the best of them. Unless you're running a different playbook than me, because anytime I've tried to go in there with pricing, anytime I've tried to go in there and deliver something other than a differentiation strategy, it's failed. It's not worked. We've lost money. We've lost tens of thousands of dollars, and it's just not worked. So this is the only thing we have to avoid a race to the bottom. Develop your media assets, key as well. Media, oh my God. Over time, you can develop some really beautiful assets, really beautiful videos, lifestyle images, maybe even photos of the production, the supply chain. Really show your edge in the market. And developing your marketing angle too. So yes, competing with your competition in areas they cannot compete. You have the edge, you have the knowledge, you have the experience, you have the heritage. These are things that, again, you can build up over time. Again, it might not be at the start, you have all this stuff, but it's possible to build it, and that gives you a unique marketing angle. That makes you difficult to compete with, So do not neglect quality. Do not neglect it. The next one here is superior service. So you're going to get returns and complaints. You must meet customers head on doing this. You can't run away from this area. You've got to be able to talk to customers, talk to them in a way. It really is always about how you say things, Can you emphasize with a customer? You can't bring a customer from like completely irate to like ecstatic in one email or one phone call. It just doesn't work. You can bring them up a level. So if they're really irate, you can bring them up to maybe dissatisfied, which is good for one correspondence. And then maybe you can bring them up to satisfied or neutral. These are the things you need to be good at. This is where your English needs to be good. This is where your listening skills need to be good. This is where your communication has got to be really good, because you've got to have superior service. Of course, you can build out a lot of these ticket templates over time and have people in doing it. But ultimately, at the start, you're going to know the products best, and you're going to be able to build out these superior service systems. Another thing that people really neglect is they fear the feedback, they fear the customer tickets, when to me, that's always been the number one way of improving products. You're keeping your ear close to the ground. You understand how each batch of products going out, how it's impacting customers. Is it positive? Is your quality getting better? Is your product's effectiveness getting better? Or is it not? You've got to be close to the ground on this, and you've got to be able to use that feedback to make products the best they can possibly be. This is a huge advantage if you use it. Now, we've got a spreadsheet that we've used before, whereby we actually basically built out the columns of each of the issues that goes wrong with the product, and then we have monthly, and we'll basically note down, based on the tickets we receive, which categories of problems come up the most. And yeah, of course, we're not going to solve 5 problems at once, but over time we'll pick the biggest one, and that might be 30% of the defects. And then we reduce the defects by 30%, and then we move on to the next one. It's a clear way, a clear path, and it works. It works, picking the biggest issue and working on it, maybe one per quarter even, So superior service, this can be a real advantage here when it's product development heaven, as it says. The last one here is unique presentation. So as part of your offering, invest in unique presentation. What better way to stand out than not only have a superior product, quality, a USP, but to present it in a unique way. So that might be your color scheme, it might be your packaging, it might be your branding. If you can do something a little bit contrarian to the market, and you're stacking these key features, these key elements of what makes a successful product and brand, oh my God, you're going to make so much money. You're going to make so much money, your products are going to be so good. So packaging, marketing, bring something unique to the market. It might not be unique to other markets, but if you bring innovation further. Yeah, so another key thing as well, you're looking at, especially during the product research phase, you're looking at a lot of different niches. You're looking at a lot of different industries. Now, often there's great inspiration in other industries. Maybe they have got really awesome packaging or customer experience. Maybe it's a luxury brand, or maybe it's just something in a different niche. Take that, bring it into your niche, bring it in, use it for your niche. Stand out. So it doesn't have to be like Einstein level innovation. It can be just taking what's working in other geographies, other markets, and applying it to your market. A really key way to boost things. I mean, I've gotten inspiration from clothing orders, and inspiration from the packaging and how they've packaged it with paper, how they've made it the experience of opening up the cardboard packaging, how they've told their story, their craft. I had a chocolate bar like 2 weeks ago, it wasn't 2 weeks ago, it was probably like 2 months ago, whereby they had to craft the production process, each of the elements of the journey before it gets to the customer. We implemented it. It's improved things. It's made it better. We put it on the packaging, we put it on the listing. You can seek innovation from many other niches. And it starts from having the awareness and realizing when you're seeing some greatness in their niches. Now, if you start stacking the previous success playbook principles with this, your product will undeniably be unique and superior. Rest at nothing to achieve this. If you stack all of these things, your product is going to fly. It's going to fly. And you might not be able to get every single element in here, but in many cases you can. If you can get 3, 4, 5 of these, or I should say 3 or 4 of these in, you're going to have a good time. Maybe some of this will come a bit later to superior service. It might take time to know the product. Maybe the superior quality will come a bit later. But if you can start adding these in over time, as you validate the product, as you validate the market, you're going to have a good time. So I hope this is helpful as someone that has done millions of dollars in products, who's lost tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars as well as a part of that. I hope this helps. These are the key principles that have determined our success or failure of products and ultimately our brands. My target is to launch 8-figure brands, so I wanted to codify my wins and losses so far. These are my confessions. These are the things that we've gotten wrong and the failed products. As recent as this week, we've missed out on some of these things with products. Now, we've launched them a couple of years ago, but taking stock is key. So if you'd like to discuss these further, drop them comment below. I'd love to hear what has worked well for you in terms of launching successful products and brands. I will reply to every comment. And if you're a more seasoned seller, apply to join our community. In there, we can discuss this in more detail. We can really get into product development. We have some live SOPs in how to develop your products, product development frameworks, product research frameworks. So I think these might be very interesting to you if you're in this phase of your business. So until next time, guys, subscribe if you like this, and I'll catch you on the next one.